Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the Kylie Cosmetics Take Me on Vacation palette. I got this in the mail yesterday and I haven't used it yet. Today is the first time I'm going to be using it on my face. So if you guys want to see me review the Kylie Cosmetics Take Me on Vacation palette, then just keep watching. Okay, so I literally just broke the palette all over my vanity. Like, I literally flipped it upside down by accident and dropped it. And all of the little pans flew out of my freaking palette. All I did was go like this and it kind of fell on my counter. And like all of these little pans flew out. Luckily, none of them broke. Like this one has a little bit of fallout. Okay, so other than the fact that my palette just freaking broke, I'm gonna go in with the eyeshadow. I'm pretty pissed off right now. I have to be really careful. I was gonna go like this and show you guys, but since they all fell out, I can't do that anymore. For my transition color, I'm going to take this light peach color right here. Really pretty soft peach. It reminds me of orange soda from Anastasia. It reminds me of orange soda from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I use that color all the time as a transition. So putting this into my crease, I mean, it is pretty pigmented. It's blending really, really nicely. I didn't really have to dip the brush that much into it and it got a lot of pigment. There was a little bit of fallout though, I will say that, but I feel like when you have like really buttery, smooth, pigmented eyeshadows, there is going to be fallout. So I don't want to be too quick to judge on that. Next, I'm going to go into this color right here. It's like a really pretty like soft pink type of color. I'm going to take this on a Morphe R39 like I always do. Yeah, this one has like a lot of fallout. As I'm dipping my brush into it, I have to like tap off a lot of the excess, which I mean, like I said, I feel like fallout, you can't really count that against the palette, but I don't like it because when I tap my brush off, it gets like on my white vanity top and like it'll get on my clothes. So I mean, I don't like fallout, but I feel like it's nothing that's gonna kill the palette for me. So I'm just putting this into my crease a little bit lower than I put that transition color. I feel like I have a shit ton of product on the brush, but as I'm putting it onto my eye, I feel like there should be more color coming off. Okay, so after going back and forth with that color, I feel like I was able to build it up a little bit more. But I feel like I shouldn't have to do that with that eyeshadow. I feel like with as much pigment was coming off of my brush, it wasn't like transferring to my eyes. So I don't know how I feel about that shade. And like I said, there's a crap ton of fallout. I have to keep like blowing on it. Next color I'm going to use is this one right here. It's like a really soft brown color. I don't want anything dramatic, so I'm just going to take that on the same Morphe R39. I'm going to put it on my brush and I'm going to stick it in my crease a little bit lower than that pink color. And this one has a lot of fallout. Like I barely dip my brush into it and you can see like the shadows like kind of crumbling a little bit. I'm gonna have to, so I'm gonna put that into my crease a little bit lower. Hopefully this one's more pigmented than the pink before it. Putting this onto my eyelid, I feel like I don't really see the color that much. I mean, it's there, but it's not coming off like as dark as that looks in the pan. I mean, it doesn't look like, you know, a rich dark brown eyeshadow, but it definitely looks like it should be a lot darker than it's coming off on my eyelid. I just kind of feel like it's not, I just kind of feel like the pigment is not like transferring well. I don't know if maybe it's the brush. I mean, I always use these Morphe brushes for all of my eyeshadow and they do a really good job with other eyeshadows. I'm not really sure what it is, but I feel like these shadows, like the colors don't come off as intense as they should. I mean, maybe she wanted it to be that way. Maybe she wanted it to be a little bit more sheer to where you kind of have to build it up. I mean, I don't know. I'm not Kylie Jenner and I didn't make these eyeshadows, but I just kind of feel like for the price, I think this was like $56 or something like that. I just kind of feel like they should be more pigmented, if that makes sense. For my eyelid, I'm going to take this shimmery shade right here. Like I said, I freaking broke the palette earlier, so I'm not sure if that's the spot that it's like supposed to be in. So I don't know the color of it. I'm going to use my Morphe M224. So I'm going to wet my brush with that and I'm going to put that onto my eyelid. I'm not gonna lie, this color is actually pretty nice. I didn't expect it to look this way. In the pan, it looks like a rose goldy type of champagne color, but when I put it on my eye, it almost looks like it's like a yellowy gold. I don't know, I want to say holographic, but I don't want to say holographic because obviously it's not holographic, but I feel like it's picking up like different flecks of color, if that makes sense. It's like a gold, yellow, champagne kind of shimmer. I really like it actually. It's pretty pigmented. I mean, I did spray the brush, but I do that with every shimmery shadow that I use. And I feel like this might be my favorite eyeshadow in the palette. I feel like it's really pretty, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish and put that on my other eye. Before I do my lower lash line, I'm going to take my NYX Matte Liquid Black Liner, and I'm just going to do a wing like always, and then I'll come right back to finish my lower lash line. I think I'm going to use that blue. I'm not sure yet. Okay, so I just put my wing liner on. We're going to go into the lower lash line. I don't know what I want to do yet. I kind of want to play around with this blue color. I feel like this color is what made me want to buy the palette. I think it's such a pretty blue for summer. Taking this angled brush, I'm dipping into that blue color. And since this is shimmery, I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. And I'm going to spray it with some NYX setting spray. I always do that with shimmery eyeshadows. I'm going to dip a little bit more onto there. And I am going to put this on my lower lash line just against my waterline, my lower waterline, which I just said my lower lash line, same thing. But I'm just going to press this onto there. It is pretty pigmented so far. Okay, so I feel like that's actually really pretty. I'm just going to keep putting this on my lower lash line. I don't know what I think of it, to be honest. I feel like it looks like, that sound weird, it looks like gray or something. Like the color is not as like intense, and like, watch, let me swatch it on my hand. I'm putting it on the brush just like I did with my eye. I'm going to spray it. Ooh. I'm going to spray it, and then I'm going to put it on my hand. So you see that? Like, I feel like it's not, and I'm freaking going in. I feel like it's not as blue as it is in the pan. Like, it's not very pigmented. On my hand and on my eyes, it's like an icy blue, but in the pan, it looks like a rich, like really pretty blue color. I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, I kind of like it, I kind of don't, but I'm going to take some blue eyeliner and stick that into my waterline. Hopefully that'll help. To use the Lancome Dramatic Eye Pencil in the color, I don't know what color, it's just like a really pretty blue. I'm going to stick this into my lash line just like on the corners, just to help like bring this blue out on my lower lash line a little bit. I'm kind of upset with this pigmentation. I'm not going to lie, like I'm a little bit disappointed right now. So I'm going to put on my mascara, put on some eyelashes. I'm going to use the Mad Eye eyelashes by the Makeup Shack. I'm going to stick those on, and then I'll be right back to give you guys my final thoughts on this palette. Okay, so I just finished putting on eyelashes, mascara, and I put on a lip. Let's just talk about this palette. I paid almost $60 to get this palette, and it is underwhelming to say the least. I mean, the eyeshadows, don't get me wrong, Fallout again. Like, the eyeshadows are pretty. Like, I like the colors, to be honest. I really only got the palette for this blue color. I thought it was gorgeous. I really wanted it for summer, but I think it's a waste of money. I just feel like people buy these palettes because they're so hyped up. Like, Kylie Cosmetics, you know, she's part of the Kardashian empire, whatever. I'm not going to say whether or not I'm a fan of the Kardashians, because that is completely irrelevant to this eyeshadow palette. I'm strictly going based off of the quality of this eyeshadow palette, and personally I don't think it's worth the money. Let's just go ahead and swatch some of the eyeshadows. So this really pretty silver right here, this totally stood out to me, and I'm gonna dip my finger pretty hard in these. There's already fallout, it's disgusting. So on my finger, I mean, the swatch comes out kind of, I'm trying to focus. So that swatch is not terrible, right? It's like, okay, whatever. Let's swatch the blue that I used on my lower lash line. This swatch doesn't come out bad, right? I mean, it looks pretty good. Let's swatch this other color I used on my eyelid. I actually did end up liking this color. The swatch is okay. So I feel like the swatches themselves are not bad. Like I said, like when you dip your brush into the palette, they come off on your brush like, you know, there's a lot of fallout. You could see the color on your brush. So you would think that the eyeshadows are going to be pigmented, because that's what I thought. You know, I dipped my brush into it. I saw how dark the bristles got with the color, and I'm like, okay, great, these are going to be awesome. I just feel like when you put them onto your eyelid, they don't give you the color payoff that they should. I feel like for a palette that costs almost $60 to get delivered to your home in your hands, you can only buy it online, so it's about $60 in my opinion, you know, once you pay for the taxes and the shipping. I feel like for a palette that is about $60, they should have much better pigmentation. The blendability is great. They are super blendable, they're nice, they're buttery, but I just feel like the color payoff is not there. I feel like it's lacking something. I put that blue on my lower lash line, and I just feel like it's so underwhelming. It's not as pigmented as I thought it was going to be. I'm just not a fan of this eyeshadow palette. Would I buy it again? Probably, just because I really like that blue. As much as it's not as pigmented as I thought it was going to be, I still like the blue color. It is still pretty. It's just not true to color as it is in the pan, but I still think it is a pretty blue, if that makes any sense. The color that I used on my eyelid is really pretty. I love that one. That one's true to color. It works great. So there are shades in here that I do like, but if you're debating on whether or not to get this palette, I would definitely go ahead and skip it. I think there's prettier palettes out there with better quality, more pigmentation. I just feel like you know, if you're gonna get it for the name, then that's fine. Whatever, you want to have it in your collection, fine. But if you really are looking for a good summer palette that you want to get use out of, I would skip on this one personally. I just think that there is better quality eyeshadow palettes out there, and I'm not a fan of this one. I'm sure I'm still gonna use it for a couple of the colors, but I'm pretty disappointed that I wasted my money on it. So those are my thoughts on the Kylie Cosmetics Take Me on Vacation palette. I'm just not a fan overall. I think it's whatever, you know, I think it's a pretty mediocre palette. I feel like it could have been made a lot better. But that is the end of this video. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.